Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to go in the YouTube time machine and we're going to visit the year 2009 and we're going to visit with a YouTuber named Jennifer Ackerman who back on August 27th of that year found herself 1 week away from bariatric surgery. Let's hear what her thoughts were. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments.
September 3rd, 2009, I'm having gastric bypass surgery. It's been an ongoing progress for about 2 years for me. I, had my ups and downs, whether I was going to have the lap band or the gastric bypass. It's just been two long years of tests and saving money for co-pays but my day's almost here and I am very nervous, but at the same time, I'm very, very, very excited and ecstatic. I want to get it done and over with. I want to start my new life. I've never been skinny or a healthy weight in my life. So this is really going to be a whole new, experience for me. And I'm looking so forward to it. I'm basically starting this vlog for two reasons. The first one is just so I can see my own progress, through the weeks, months, years, because I know there's people out there who are on YouTube all the time looking up people who've had gastric bypass. I'm one of those people. I'm on YouTube every day looking that kind of stuff up. So I'm hoping to be one of those people that hopefully inspire you to go through with the procedure. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or I'm on MySpace, myspace.com/.
What are the odds that she's still there, right? I don't even know if MySpace still exists, but that goes to show you how old this video is. I had a MySpace account. Did you have a MySpace account? Oh my goodness, that takes you back. By the way, I apologize for the video quality, but it's such an old video that she just probably took it in a low resolution camera, or maybe it was high resolution back then. I don't even remember. But does this bring back old memories for you? I assume if you're watching this, you were at least a kid, if not a young adult, when this was happening. It's really interesting to see how far back these videos go. This is why I always say, YouTube, you need to keep these older videos accessible so that we can see the timeline aspect of YouTube.
I'm more than willing to answer all your questions, serious questions only. If you're going to be, a fat basher or whatever, you're getting blocked. But anyway, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm having my surgery at Temple University. The surgeon's name is Dr. John Milan. He's very reputable. He has been doing these kind of procedures for 18 years, okay? And I firmly believe Temple University is one of the best hospitals in this country, and I 150 million% support Temple University. So I'm putting all my trust in my surgeon, in the medical team, and I am ready for a successful surgery. He hasn't had one fatality. We went to different meetings with him. I have a whole book full of different programs and things. I've been through so many different programs. I've seen a nutritionist, a psychiatrist. I've been through it all.
So I'm really proud of her. I know this was done a long time ago, but think about this. This is at a time when not everyone even had a computer. Not everyone was even on the internet at this time. And she already knew to go with the best. Notice she said that this guy hasn't had any fatalities. I've been through a program with a nutritionist. I've seen a psychiatrist. So she had the mental aspect ready to actually go into the surgery. Good for her. Here's the cool thing about the time machine. Now we get to go a couple years in the future and see how she looked with her changes. Okay, so now we fast forwarded 4 weeks post bariatric surgery. The first video we saw was 1 week before. Now we've went 4 weeks ahead. She's already got her hair done. She did her makeup up. She looks very excited about life. Let's hear what she has to say. The name of this video is My First Dumping Syndrome. Oh, this will be a lot of fun.
I'm doing this vlog because I experienced something today that I dreaded from the first time I heard of gastric bypass. I had my first instance of dumping syndrome today, and let me tell you, it is not anything to mess with. Oh gosh, it was just terrible. I went, if anybody can tell, I got my hair done today. Look at me. I look great.
She does look great. And real quick, let's go over what dumping syndrome is. It's a condition that can occur after weight loss surgery, particularly after procedures like gastric bypass. It happens when food, especially high sugar foods, move from your stomach into your small intestine too quickly. There are two types of dumping syndrome. The first is early dumping syndrome, guys. This occurs within 10 to 30 minutes after eating, and symptoms can include nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramps, diarrhea, dizziness, and a rapid heart rate. Late dumping syndrome, however, this happens 1 to 3 hours after eating. Symptoms are often related to low blood sugar and can include sweating, weakness, dizziness, and a rapid heart rate. So no matter how you slice or dice it, this dumping syndrome does not sound like it's very fun at all. If you've experienced dumping syndrome or have a friend or relative that has, let us know what your thoughts were on their situation down in the comments.
Yeah, I went and I got my hair done, me and Rob's mom, and we decided to go to the diner that was like right next door to the hair place. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm thinking like, what could I eat like in here that I won't get sick on? And I've tried like salad, I've tried mashed potatoes, I've tried like a whole bunch of other stuff, right? I've been really good with eggs, you know? So let me try to get an omelet, right? So I ordered a ham and cheese omelet. Yeah, you know what? I should have asked if it was fat-free cheese, but whatever. If you're just a little bit, isn't going to kill me. They came out, this omelet was like this big, okay? And then, like, there was a whole side order of home fries, which obviously I can't eat, and they were just staring at me. They looked so good. I didn't put any ketchup on my omelet or anything, right? I took, like, 2 pieces of it. Oh, and they asked me what kind of bread I wanted, and they said I could have, like, really crispy bread, as long as, you know, it's well done, like, well toasted. So I was like, yeah, all right, you know, let me get some rye bread, just make sure it's really, really toasted. They bring it out, it's toasted, no problem. I took like 2 or 3 pieces of my omelet, right? Little pieces, not even big pieces. And I took one little tiny, tiny bite out of the rye bread. Within 5 minutes, oh my gosh. I was getting like pain, like I don't, like if anybody gets like indigestion, like the pain you get at like the top of your stomach, like it's like a cramp or like it feels like your stomach's on fire. I started getting that, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I ate too fast. And I'm thinking, like, all right, it'll pass. So I know they say you shouldn't drink when you eat, but I figured, well, maybe if I take, like, a little sip of my water, it'll flush it out, and it'll go away. So I did that, and it just got worse. And I was like, oh, crap. So, you know, Rob's mom's looking at me like, are you okay? You okay? You know? And I was like, let me run to the bathroom. So I ran to the bathroom. By this point, I was shaken. I was breaking out in sweats. And I was trying to, like, I felt like I had to burp real bad. But I couldn't. Nothing would come out. Oh, gosh, I was getting these bad cramps, like these crazy burning cramps in my stomach, like, or my pouch. And I was like freaking out. I'm in a public restroom, so I'm totally uncomfortable as it is. I hate using public restrooms. And I'm like walking back and forth. I'm like, well, maybe, you know, not to gross anybody out, but I'm like, maybe if I try going to the bathroom, maybe I'll be okay. Nothing. No. Okay, fine. So then at this point, I'm starting to feel like a little bit nauseous, and nothing would come out. Like, it was just like, nothing would actually come out, right? So then I'm like, you know what, let me go back to let Rob's mom know that I'm okay. So I go back, and I'm sitting there, and I'm still getting this feeling in my stomach. And at this point, people in the restaurant are looking at me. I'm thinking, like, crap, I hope I'm not giving, like, the restaurant a bad name, because it wasn't really their food that got me sick. It was, you know, my choice in food that I ordered, you know? And I wasn't going to get up on a chair and tell everybody, hey, I just had gastric bypass and I'm having dumping syndrome. You know, I'm not going to do that. And not to gross anybody out, but I got this really bad urge. I have to go to the bathroom. So I jumped up out of the chair and ran back into the bathroom. I did what I had to do, you know, and it was very unpleasant. In the meantime, my mouth is just like filling up with saliva. Like it felt like there was a pool of water just sitting in my mouth. It was so gross. And I'm the type of person where when I do actually get sick and I have to vomit, I don't get that way. I have to physically I have to induce myself to get myself to vomit. At this point, I grabbed the trash can and it just comes out. Like, and it's all like just saliva. Like, it wasn't like food or anything like that. It was like a dry heave, but like it was saliva. By this point, I'm just sweating so bad. I got the shakes. The cramps in my stomach are just so intense. This must have went on for like 20 minutes. It was so intense. Like, I really felt like I was going to die.
Ah, that does sound traumatic. And you know, she described something there. When I feel like I'm about to throw up, all of a sudden my mouth fills with saliva and it has like a sour taste. If you have that same feeling before you're about to vomit, let me know because I want to know I'm not the only one. Here she was almost the same size that she was before, but she looks a little bit skinnier to me. I'm guessing maybe 10, 20, 30 pounds skinnier, right? So let's take a look at the final finished product. Hey, she looks awesome. Tell me what your thoughts are on her transformation. This is 43 weeks post the surgery.
Yeah, so I've been kind of MIA for a while. So a lot has been going on in my personal life. I have just a lot of issues. I really don't want to talk about a lot of those issues. I want to kind of just talk about what's going on, like as far as the weight loss, things like that. So today is week 43 since I had my surgery. I weighed myself this morning before I left for work, and I was 198.6, which brings me down to a total weight loss of 131.3 pounds. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that, but I'm starting to see how they were saying that, you know, like when you first have the surgery, you're just like going to drop, and then all of a sudden you're going to plateau, drop. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm also noticing like I'll gain a few pounds and lose it, which I've watched some videos on YouTube and people got really upset over it. I'm not really that upset over it. I have nobody to blame but myself. I just pretty much eat whatever I want, which isn't good, but I don't eat a lot. That's the thing. I don't eat a lot. And I know I could do better if I would, you know, stick to my regimen of what I'm supposed to have and what I'm not supposed to have. I was kind of hoping when I have the surgery that I was one of those people who would get sick off of everything so I could limit myself, because I'll be honest with you, like I said before, I don't get sick off anything. And it's kind of sucks because like I was really hoping to be one of those people that don't get sick or that do get sick, so they can just, you know, steer clear of certain things. But unfortunately, I'm not one of those people.
You and I have seen a lot of people that are miserable because of that sickness. If she was one of these folks that was able to avoid that, it's great. I urge you to check out the rest of this video because she talks a little bit about how she went through a little depression despite all the weight that she lost. Here's what really bums me out about Jennifer's videos. She made this video 14 years ago. So even though I said we went to the future, it wasn't very much into the future. And this was one of her last videos. So go to her videos, leave comments. Maybe we can tell her to come back and give us some sort of update. Guys, we're starting another 90-day walking journey. I would love for you guys to join with me. If you're a venter already, you guys have been walking with me now for 180 straight days. Let's rejoice and do 90 more. So go get your shoes, everybody. Let's go for a walk. God, it feels so awesome this morning. All right, guys, this is technically day one of our next 90-day challenge, or my next 180-day challenge. I feel like $1 million this morning because technically the weather is in like what feels like the high 70s. I haven't seen what the temperature is, but there's no way this is much higher than maybe 78, 79 degrees. It feels great out here. If you guys are looking forward to the next season, let me know. Oh my God. Next season of weather and next season of us. If you're brand new, we have a couple of rules that we go by. Number one, we like to walk every single day, 7 days a week. Why do we walk 7 days a week? Because walking is one of these exercises that if you do it 3 or 4 days a week, it doesn't really seem to do much for a person. But if you walk every single day, you become a calorie burning machine. So remember, we walk every single day. Well, how do we do that, Jesse? Well, Bob, I'm glad you asked. The best way to do that is to get out your door first thing in the morning before you even go to work and take a little half-hour walk. If you're brand new and you've never taken walks regularly in your life, or at least not for a long time, you can always start off with a slow baby step of simply walking around your neighborhood for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then slowly in the upcoming weeks, we can build you up to a full half-hour walk, maybe even in the upcoming days, because let's be honest, walking isn't too challenging once you make it part of your routine. Part two of our rules, or rule number 2, is we like to drink water every single day, and the goal is to get to the point where we predominantly drink water or unsweetened tea, or basically any type of drink that has very little to no sugar in it. Which leads me to rule number 3. We try to avoid sugar like the plague. Why do I say try instead of totally avoid? Because it's almost impossible to totally avoid sugar. But if you can get to the point where we're slowly but surely baby stepping away from donuts and Coca-Colas and candy bars more towards fruit and even non-sweet options, we will ultimately get to the point where when it comes to sugary substances, we'll be able to take it or leave it. When you get to this take it or leave it point of your life, you'll start to gain control over these things that kind of push us under when it comes to our weight loss situation, right? You're doing good, you've lost 3 or 4 pounds, all of a sudden you have a slice of cake, a Coca-Cola, and before you know it, you haven't walked for 2 or 3 days, and before you know it, you've gained those 2 or 3 pounds that you lost right back. So that's the 3 rules. We walk every day, we drink water every day, and we avoid sugar every single day. Jesse, what happens if we break one of the rules? Well, because there's 3 rules, if you break one of the rules, we have a 2/3 rule, which simply states that if you miss a day of walking, still try to drink water and avoid sugar. If you miss a day or miss a particular meal where you drink something sugary instead of water, well, keep avoiding the rest of the sugary things on the planet and keep walking. And then ultimately, if you end up eating a candy bar or a piece of cake or some sort of dessert food, don't feel guilty about it. Just go right back to drinking water and taking your walks. What happens is when we're on a walk, it keeps us in a positive mental state of mind. Normally, when you're on a diet and exercise routine and you have a cheat day, you end up feeling guilty because a lot of times those cheat days have a way of becoming cheat weeks. And in this diet and exercise plan, it's no different. We have limitations and we have certain things that as human beings, we are susceptible to. One of those things is short-term failure. What we want to avoid is long-term failure. Well, how do we do that? The way we do that is by making sure that if we do break a rule, we still observe the other 2. So again, if you break any of these rules, don't trip, don't get upset, don't get guilty or mad at yourself. Simply move forward and keep obeying the rules going forward. In other words, if you have a piece of cake, enjoy the piece of cake, but let's move on. What'll happen is after 1 or 2 months, you won't really notice a change at all, but changes are happening underneath the surface level. For example, if you're walking with me for a consecutive month or 2, you're gonna start feeling like every day, hey, I wanna have a walk. It's a really good positive part of my life. And as we enter into month 3 of the 90-day challenge, you'll actually start to lose weight. But here's the problem that I've noticed. in the first 2 90-day challenges, because people have to wait so long to start losing weight, a lot of times they start to get discouraged when they hit month 3, when they should start to feel elation because they've made it to month 3 and now they're going to start losing weight. So what do we do about it? That's where I am suggesting that maybe instead of the 90-day challenge, let's look at this as a 180-day challenge. Why? Well, if you think about a couple of the different videos that we watched, the 2 that really got a lot of weight loss to occur were Sherry Lorena and then another guy, I forget his name and I apologize for that, but they both walked for 6 months and a year respectively, and they both lost 50, 60 pounds or more. So the reality is, if we look at this challenge as a 180-day challenge rather than a 90-day challenge, guys, we're going to be able to really lose all the weight that we want to do. So if you have a goal to lose 30 to 40 pounds, it'll be easier for us to hit that goal if we go into a 180-day challenge. Now here's the cool thing. America and the world are going to be joining us around New Year's, because that's when New Year's resolutions begin. If you and I embark on our 180-day challenge starting now, what'll happen is a situation where when New Year's rolls around and everybody else is starting to go from 0 to 60 when it comes to them hitting the gas on their New Year's resolutions, you and I will already be in the midst of our New Year's resolution and we'll already have 90 some odd days under our belt. I was real popular in grade school. As I progressed through middle school and high school and beyond, I all of a sudden wasn't Mr. Popularity. As a matter of fact, it was at those years where I started to see a divide between me and those popular kids. It was kind of glorified in that movie Mean Girls, because that's how high school and stuff was for me in school. You had these cliques. You had these people that just a couple years earlier in middle school or grade school, you were really good friends with them. All of a sudden, they were a part of a different clique and they were too good for you. Or in my case, they were too good for me. So I had a lot of people that I saw as friends in grade school that I didn't necessarily see as buddies in high school. Now, a lot of these people have gone on to become my Facebook friends, and I do consider them my childhood siblings, or not my siblings, but my childhood friends as a whole. So I don't look at them as a negative. But the reality was, when I went to school with a lot of these people, I didn't necessarily like the people that they were. The reason they're my Facebook friends is because I tried to remember how much I liked a lot of these people during grade school, and I also didn't want to hold the way they acted as, adolescents against them forever. You got to be forgiving, you know what I mean? And the reality is, I don't dislike anybody that I went to high school with other than 1 or 2. I had 1 or 2 that were really not the best people towards me. But even I don't wake up on the daily and think, oh my God, I hate Jolene and I hate Becky and I hate Tom. There's none of that in my life. But there are people that if I were to meet them at the store, I wouldn't necessarily want to chat with them all day. You know what I mean? So that's the basic premise to our workout. We do this every day. What'll happen is, if you were to break down your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if you take away the sweet chocolate milk of breakfast, if you take away the sweet Lucky Charms or the heavy in calories bacon, eggs, and tortilla, if you can limit those, start to eat things like oatmeal that are a little bland and a little boring, you can start to look at food more as fuel. But here's the problem. If you jump into all these things like you've been doing in the past, you'll jump right back out of this a couple of days later. You want to do an exercise program that's easy enough where you can implement it for life. And the best way to do that is to ease into it. So again, if you're brand new, Start off by walking each day with us for 10 or 15 minutes. After a week or two, we'll get you to the point where you can walk half an hour, and then what we'll do is we'll slowly add water to your, breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks, and we'll slowly subtract your dessert foods at the end of the day. We'll do it piece by piece so that once we enter month 2, you'll start eating better and you'll start working out more, and it'll give us a nice base of strength and power that we can pull from going forward. Because when you're burning calories every day with your walk and you're avoiding calories by drinking water rather than soda and eating bananas and carrots rather than dessert foods all the time, it'll really start to have a nice multiplicative effect for you. Shannon Sharpe has a podcast. The podcast that Shannon Sharpe has is called Club Shay Shay. It's actually a YouTube channel, right? And he has his partner, Chad Johnson. And apparently the other day, Chad Johnson arrived late for one of their podcasts that they filmed together. And apparently Shannon Sharpe let him have it in public, told him that it was unprofessional, told him that it was just wrong, and apparently just bit a bite out of Chad Johnson's ass over, this unprofessional moment. Chad Johnson took it like a champ and said, okay, I did it. Let's move on. Let's go forward. And it was a little embarrassing how Shannon Sharpe actually went at Chad Johnson. When a boss sees his employee or his coworker as somebody that's embarrassing or not professional, there's 2 ways that a boss can go about that. They can lambast you or embarrass you in front of the whole room of coworkers, or they can take you into the office and do something privately. Well, when you're a public figure like Shannon Sharpe and you feel like you're disrespected in public by somebody not showing up to your podcast on time, especially if they're a permanent member of that podcast, a lot of times we let the emotions get the best of us. And even though you're an employer and you're supposed to be above your employees, or maybe you're a supervisor and you're supposed to be above your coworkers, sometimes we as people let our emotions get the best of us. And so Shannon Sharpe gave this long speech about how people need to be accountable. Okay, all right, let's leave that story there. Now let's fast forward to what's happened over the last couple of days. Shannon Sharpe apparently did an Instagram live video on accident. He was trying to figure a way to set up his camera and get everything set up. And apparently he went live. And apparently while he was live, and again, I haven't really read about it or watched it too much because these things don't interest me that much, but it was kind of interesting what happened. Apparently when the Instagram live was on, you could hear Shannon in the background, and maybe you could even see him. I'm not sure of the whole story, but apparently he was having sex with a woman. Now, I don't know about you, but it looks a little bad when one week you're talking about, your podcast partner not being professional, and then the next week you're on Instagram Live and people are seeing or hearing you have sex in the back of an Instagram live stream. And you want to know, that does look pretty unprofessional, doesn't it? Now, the story doesn't end there. So imagine you get bawled out by your boss on a podcast, and then the next day your boss is sitting there having sex on an Instagram live reel. It looks really hypocritical and it looks very unprofessional. But I'm starting to hear little murmurs of a situation that happened before that is starting to come around full circle. Now, keep in mind, these are YouTube murmurs, so they're basically like rumors and there's not necessarily anything to them, but I thought this was kind of interesting. Many of you guys might know who Shannon Sharpe is, but you just don't really know how to place him and the name together. So if you Google or YouTube Shannon Sharpe, you'll quickly see that he's a football player that you've probably seen at some point in your life. He's pretty popular. And he's been on ESPN and different stations on TV for many, many years since he retired from the Denver Broncos and Baltimore Ravens of the NFL. So anyway, long story short, about 2, 3, 4 months ago, it might have even been a little longer, he was caught going into a store carrying a purse. And it just looked like a real feminine video. He comes out of his vehicle, he's holding his purse, kind of like how a woman holds their purse. And he's talking about going into a store to buy a couple bottles of wine. It just sounded real preppy, and it just kind of sounded, which I assume, Shannon kind of assumed it sounded kind of gayish, right? It made him look like he wasn't the most manly of men, and they made fun of him. As a matter of fact, a lot of people made fun of him for that, and they made recreations of him going into this wine store holding this giant purse, right? So fast forward to this event. Now he's sitting there saying, hey, I apologize. I didn't know that I was on Instagram Live. I should have been more professional. I need you guys to look past this. This is something I'm embarrassed about. But here's the kicker. Some of the grumblings on YouTube, and again, this was just one video that I kind of saw this morning, or I saw of, and they were saying that maybe he's doing a flex. Maybe he's doing a situation where he wants people to see just how straight or heterosexual he is, because he doesn't like the idea of people thinking that he's some girly guy. In reality, if you were to see Shannon Sharpe, he is basically built like a bodybuilder, and I don't think anybody, at least to his face, would say he looks like a girl. But sometimes the ego does weird shit to us as people and as human beings, right? I know you're thinking, aren't people and human beings the same thing? Yeah, usually, right? So anyway, a lot of people are saying, I wonder if Shannon Sharpe, well, I take that back. 1 or 2 YouTubers are saying, I wonder if Shannon Sharpe wants people to believe that he's straight because maybe he's not so straight. But again, I don't feel that way. I'm sure he is a straight guy. And even if he's not, you know, we live in a world where there's plenty of other gay people around, and nobody would do anything but celebrate him if he were ever to come out of the closet. Now, here's the thing. I've heard this happening to a lot of people before, where they're just starting to mess with going live and doing live streams, and then they end up getting into a situation where they don't realize they're being recorded while they think they're going through these prep moments. So I know for a fact that when it comes to doing your first live stream, things can be confusing. If you have an opinion on this, let us know in the comments. As I get older, a lot of these shock stories don't really do it for me, because let's be honest, even if he did come out as a gay man, he's just one of many, many people that have come out over the past couple of decades, and you would get over this story in a matter of moments. And to be honest with you, I'm over the story now. If you guys look behind me, you'll see the sun. There's a little video that I saw that I thought was really interesting from this standpoint. When you look at that sun behind me, look how white that sun looks, and look how big it looks. A lot of people remember the sun looking slightly smaller and having more of a orangey yellow color to it rather than this white star look. I don't know if it's just because of the way the sun is setting on the horizon in the morning or in the afternoon, right? I think it's more of that situation, because believe me, when the sun is setting, it still looks very much yellowish or orange. But I will admit, during my videos, that sun looks huge and it does look white-ish. Do you remember when you were a kid, the sun being a little bit more orangey color, like a school bus? If you do, let me know down below. You are not alone. People feel like the color of the sun and even the look of the sun has changed. If you've never thought about that before, which I hadn't before I saw this video, then let me know. But again, I'm just used to the sun being this giant light bulb in the sky that makes things miserable here in the summer of Arizona. Guys, I want to tell you about two workers named Eric and Flo that live in the Tewkesbury Abbey in Chestershire, England, and Gloucester, England. These two are assistants, and every service they lay down on mats before the congregation. What makes these two workers so impressive is they actually help brand new guests to the church so they don't feel so overwhelmed, in this place of worship. Because when you're a non-believer and you go to a church for the first time, I'd imagine in some cases it can feel intimidating. So what make Eric and Flo so special? Guys, take a look at how cute they are. They are actually two black labs that are owned by Chris Skipper, who's the head verger, or verger, I don't know how that word is pronounced, at the Abbey. So they're actually two support dogs. Now, their first day that they came to work with Mr. Skipper, they were basically told that they would just be there part-time because I think he needed somebody to watch the dogs because his family was out of town. So apparently they went and they were allowed to stay temporarily with the idea that they would be, not in any type of permanent role. But apparently right off the bat, people loved them so much, and it really did have a calming, soothing effect on guests. You walk into this intimidating church, and then you see these beautiful black labs that are just really peaceful, and it had a way of putting smiles on guests' faces. So now they are considered permanent employees of the Abbey. And look at them, they are adorably cute. So if you're a fan of black labs or chocolate labs like I am, let me know down in the comments. But would that be a way to help you go to a place you've been intimidated by if you knew that when you went in, you were going to see some nice black labs like Flo and what was the other dog's name? Chris? What were the dogs' names? Eric. Eric and Flo. It's interesting when you say names like Eric and Flo, you're kind of thinking that you're talking about people. That's why I set up the story that way. You're talking about two black Labrador retrieving dogs. I think it's funny when people name their dogs actual people names. Hey, this is John and this is Becky. That's my German Shepherd and that's my poodle. Whenever you have dogs with human names, I think that's kind of funny. What's really interesting with animals is it doesn't take them long before they know their name, which I think is interesting too. We have a lot of situations where, especially through YouTube, you can see animals doing amazing things. I've been seeing this video going around lately. Tell me if you guys have seen it. It shows a baboon that's just sitting in some guy's living room or some guy's house. And while the baboon is there, they have a little bloodhound puppy. And guys, I had no idea bloodhounds were so adorable as puppies, because as adult dogs, they're not my cup of tea. I'm sure you guys have seen what bloodhounds look like as they get older. They look like they're 900 years old as they age, right? But when they're puppies, they are probably up there amongst the cutest puppies ever. Anyway, there's this video of this baboon petting this puppy, and it's just the neatest looking thing. I love when they show animals doing humanistic behaviors. And this baboon literally just looks like he's trying to push the puppy away, but the puppy keeps coming up to nibble on him and stuff. And instead of being mean and violent, which a baboon is totally capable of destroying your family dog, but instead of doing so, it's kind of acting like a mom, pushing the dog away and then, okay, I'll hold you, and then pushing it away again. Really cute video. If you guys have seen that video, let me know. If not, I'm sure you can find it just by typing in the search window, baboon petting a puppy, and I'm sure you'll see it. Actually, videos are so popular nowadays, you'll probably see a dozen videos of baboons and chimpanzees petting puppies. I always think it's interesting when they show that in real life. And it's one of those things that when you see it, you can't help but smile. Really good vibes that you get. So again, sometimes people let their ego get the best of them. Shannon Sharp did something that wasn't the nicest to Chad Ochocinco. But you want to know something? I see where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. If somebody's a member of your podcast, they really should look at the schedule as something that you don't just take willy-nilly. You know, and Shannon has a podcast and a YouTube channel that's capable of making probably 6 or 7 figures every single year, if not more. So, you know, the reality is you can't take a show like that lightly. If you're a member of the cast, like Chad Ochocinco was, you've got to be there every day. So how do we bring this back to walking, Jesse? Well, guys, I don't know if you realize this, but I've been toting this camera around every day for the past 6 months in search of people like yourself that are looking to lose some weight and hopefully start a routine that's both practical and beneficial for them moving forward. So every single day, if you walk, you're basically putting your best foot forward. You don't want to start missing days. When you miss days, it doesn't necessarily show the world that you're really that into what you're doing. And think about this, the reason you're even looking at this channel is because many of us have gone into other diet and exercise routines and failed miserably. Your family is used to seeing you do a diet and exercise routine and then quit, right? One day Becky and John are on a diet kick, and then the next day they're drinking Coca-Cola and eating cake like they always do. And it becomes this really horrible cycle of quitting things. This could be something that we could do together. We've been doing it for 180 days straight. We are the Venters. We like to get together every morning, wish each other a happy walk, and then we like to keep going. And as horrible as this sounds, whether there's a million Venters with us or whether it's just you and me, we're going to be here every day and go for this walk together. Because this is a new challenge, this 180-day challenge we're going to be doing, and this is day 1, this also means that even if you come in a couple days late or a couple weeks late, you don't need to wait till the challenge is over. Because the reality is your body doesn't know that you're doing any type of challenge. Your body needs to know ultimately that you're going to make walking a part of your lifestyle. And that's what this channel is really about. How can we start an exercise and diet routine that we can last, that we can have last forever, that can stand up to the test of time? This is that diet and exercise routine. We're going to take your current foods that you eat, and we're going to try to make little changes that make it a little bit healthier. And we're going to try to take the exercise that you're not doing, and we're going to try to convert that into a daily walk. And what's going to happen is you're going to start losing a lot of weight. But you got to make a commitment to yourself that you're going to walk every single day. And if you need a partner to walk with you, that's who I am. I'm Jesse. Nice to meet you. So I want to wish you a wonderful day, and I want to tell you to come back tomorrow and we'll take another walk again. It was that easy. I'm done with my exercise for the day. Or am I? We'll talk about extra credit tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.